Hi, my name is Brenda Gutierrez. I am from Ysleta, Pueblo, Department of Tribal Empowerment, and I am the Student Services Coordinator.
All right. Welcome to the show, Brenda. How are you doing today?
Good.
All right. We are recording this episode. Today's official date is February 2nd, 2025. Today's episode is being recorded at TCEA 2025 in beautiful Austin, Texas. And I'm not sure how you feel, but we have really good weather.
We do.
Yes.
It's really nice out here.
Yeah, it's either like way too hot or way too cold, and it's kind of just perfect right now. So you're coming to us from Ysleta, which is, for those people who might not know where that is, give us just a geographic lesson right now.
Okay, so Ysleta, Pueblo is located within the parameters of El Paso, Texas, which is the southwest city in Texas.
Okay. And technically, you are like a street or two away from New Mexico too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I remember we drove through there, and it's interesting how you can be in New Mexico and Texas and back in New Mexico.
And in Mexico, right?
In Mexico, right there. Yeah, all right. So this is your first TCEA, right?
It is.
Okay, all right. And we know each other. We go way back, ladies and gentlemen. We go back, I want to say 24 hours?
Maybe just about.
Just about 24 hours, yeah. So Brenda was in my podcasting session, and we happened to run across each other this morning, which led us to this conversation. But I'm very interested as to let me ask you this. Why did you attend my podcast session? Like, what about the title or the description drew you to it?
The word podcast on there.
Okay. All right. Talk to me more about that.
So we have an after-school. We have a pre-K and after-school program, a higher education program, and then the high school portion as well. Within our department, which is the Department of Tribal Empowerment, and we service the tribal community. I am a tribal member, so we service the our community, and we work with these students all the way from actually starting as of birth.
Oh, wow.
So 0 years all the way to guiding them into the higher education portion of their aspect whenever they're ready for that. And so we will be getting a new building, hopefully mid to end of this year. Construction started exactly a year ago at the end of this month. And so within this new building, we will have new classrooms for our students that are attending the after-school program, summer program, which are pretty much the same population.
Okay.
And in these new classrooms, we'll have a lot of STEM programs or classroom-based STEM, along with tying them with our culture. So we will have like a robotics classroom, a gaming VR classroom. We're also going to have a beading classroom so students can tie back into our culture, and then a seamstress classroom.
Okay. All right. So it reminds me a lot of it's almost like STEM, and when I was growing up, we called it like home ec and things like that. Yeah. So it's funny because not funny, but it's interesting because I literally, about 4 days ago, one of the middle schools that I support, they have a culinary program, and I did a sample model lesson with the students, and we made crepes for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I got to work with the teacher and the students, and I tied in some technology integration with a questionnaire and some feedback. That way the teacher can look at the feedback and say, okay, our students are now interested in this because of that lesson. Let's dive into a different type of baking or something. So that's pretty cool. That's interesting. Now, being that this is your first TCEA experience, this is one of the larger conferences in the nation. You've been here for roughly about 24 hours maybe, if I'm correct. How has day one been? Your day one, like from 24 hours yesterday to today, kind of sum it up for us.
It's been great.
Okay.
So it's been great. There's a lot of learning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great information out there, and absorbing it all is going to take some time. I've been taking a lot of notes.
Okay.
And I'm absorbing a lot of things.
All right. So you're like a sponge right now. You're kind of taking things in?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Which is usually my case at
back at
attending.
Work. Yeah. And so I remember my first conference, I didn't talk to a lot of people. I went to sessions, I absorbed, and I was kind of a little shock and awe at, hey, I'm connected with these people on social media, they're literally right here in front of me.
Yeah.
I get to talk to them. I get to shake their hands. So it was a little surreal for me too. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've had that moment too?
Yes, I
Okay.
fangirl a lot.
You fangirl a lot. I don't fangirl at all. So, okay. So you've hit some sessions. You're taking things in. You're taking great notes. When you first got the okay and the purchase order and all that stuff to come, and you were like, okay, all right, I'm going to TCEA. It's official. I'm going to be in Austin. Did you have an agenda as to, okay, these are the sessions I'd like to hit. Here are the things I want to learn about. Or did you come and say, I'm going to take it day by day? Like, what was your plan of attack?
I'm taking it day by day.
Okay.
So we were at the airport. We have time to kill. So I started going down the list to schedule, scheduling day sessions to attend for day one. Last night, I went through the schedule again, started scheduling lessons for day two.
Okay.
There's some speakers out there that I might have missed the first session, so I'm going into the app, checking if there's other sessions.
Got it.
Kind of already scheduling them,
Yeah.
hoping I can make it.
Okay. All right. Good. That's a good strategy. I remember, there's a couple different ways. You can come here and take it day by day, minute by minute. There's also if you're a type A personality and you have to have your schedule, like I'm waking up at this time, I have to be in this room at this wing at this particular time to see these sessions. It's all good as long as you walk away with what it is you wanted to walk away with. So I'm assuming that you wanted to bring back some STEM ideas in that back to your organization, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So
all right.
back in August, I attended the Region 19 tech conference that they
Okay.
hosted, and that's how I was connected to TCEA.
Got it.
Because of that, through the emails and so forth. And so when I met last year, or when I was at that conference, I met some people, networked a little, and so one of my other colleagues ended up pitching the idea for us to come to TCEA, and so that's how we were approved to come.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So day one, if you had to say, yes, I was able to check these boxes, did day one do that for you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What's on the agenda or what's on the horizon for the next couple of sessions that you're going to hit?
So today I look forward to the exhibit hall.
Okay.
I'm excited about that.
All right.
I've been to the American Library Association, and their exhibit hall is amazing.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see what this one has to offer.
All right. And this is where the tables are going to turn a little bit. I'm going to give you a piece of advice or two.
Okay.
Did you when you packed and came over, did you check in your bag?
I did.
Okay. Did you bring another bag?
I didn't.
You didn't.
But there's a Ross around the corner.
Is it really?
Well, I don't know about here, but where we're staying.
All right. So you might want to hit the Ross, or you might want to just hit Amazon because they will deliver to some of the lockers around here.
Yes.
Yeah, like at the 7-Eleven and things like that. So they'll do that. And because you are going to be overwhelmed, just like at that ALA one, with the amount of things that you're going to get.
Okay.
So, yeah. I said this 2 weeks ago. I was in Florida for another conference, and I had a conversation with the first timer over there. And one of my pieces of information for him was when I first became an administrator about 12, 14 years ago, I attended my first administration and leadership conference, and one of the sessions that I hit was for first-time administrators. And one of the big pieces of advice that I walked away with that I still use to this day is plan 60% of the day, no more than 60% of the day, because the other 40 is going to be filled up with stuff that comes up, things that are out of your control, or things that you are going to have to stop everything and do. With conferences like this, same thing.
Okay.
Plan 60% of your day. Don't try to hit sessions from 8 a.m. to 4:30 because you're not going to have time to decompress. You're not going to have time to say, I took that really great note or I had that great idea and I already forgot it because I didn't get a chance to write it down or put it in my notes. So block yourself some time. Block yourself time to go to that expo hall and block yourself time to get out of the building and have lunch.
Okay.
And I'm not saying have lunch here, and that's no shots fired to any of the food vendors here, because there's good food here. But get out. Sometimes you need that change in environment, and go out. There are some really good restaurants, which we could talk off air about. But yeah, just and make the best of it. And
Okay.
make the best of it. Make the best of it. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I'd like to hear more about, like, what is your big pie in the sky? If you could have a perfect setup for your students, what would that look like? For what it is you're trying to do with STEM and podcasting, what would that look like?
That everyone's engaged.
Oh man, everyone's engaged. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
I think that's our challenge right now.
Okay, all
Is the students staying engaged into the same lesson. So they're broken down by grade levels
Yeah,
and age, and so keeping those children engaged into the lesson,
Yeah.
staying engaged into the activity,
the content, the
the
learning.
content.
Okay, all right. So with that being said, how would you define engaged?
That they're all having a good time, that they're all into the lesson, they're all participating, they're grasping the idea of what's happening,
Okay.
and also moving forward with that. I mean, students sit down and watch YouTube all day, right?
All day. TikTok,
like that's the
Snapchat.
thing. And so videos and podcasting
Okay.
is what they're watching most of the time, and so a lot of them are seeing their future as like, I want to be a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order for you to be a YouTuber, you need to get comfortable with the camera. You need to get comfortable with speaking on the mic, and just being out there pretty much.
Yeah.
Outgoing. And so that's engagement that I
Okay.
would like to see.
Awesome. So TCEA will make that happen. We'll definitely make that happen. And this episode is being brought to you by Brisk Teaching. If you are not already using Brisk Teaching, make sure you check that out. Go to briskteaching.com. Download that extension because that could and will help with things like engagement. Like once you get your equipment, once you get everything that you need, you can go to Brisk Teaching and ask it to create a couple of example lessons or what have you for your students to create a podcast, maybe create a script. So Brisk can help kind of build a skeleton of what the kids will talk about, like bullet points, and then they can go in and fill in some of those gaps. Like, okay, so for that topic that Brisk came up with, I could talk about, these particular 3 points under that, and then they can start with the writing process and getting all that taken care of. So if you have you had any experience with Brisk Teaching?
I have not,
You have not.
but I will look into it.
Yet. Yeah, you will look into it. So definitely check that out because especially with things like creativity, like podcast and videos, it can definitely get you and your students a jumping start point. That way they have a skeleton and now you and them are filling in the gaps with the creativity because that when students start getting creative, that's when the engagement happens.
Mm-hmm.
They're hooked, right? Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, I think we got everything that we needed to. How can people connect with you on social media?
So we have a Department of Tribal Empowerment Instagram page,
Okay.
Facebook page, and then the program I oversee is the Impact Program. Of course, that's for our high school and higher ed students. It's a scholarship program. So even if there's people on your podcast that are willing to give us scholarships, that'd be great. They can contact us through there.
I will definitely put that information out. And don't worry about pulling over if you're listening to this on your drive or stopping your walk or your jog. All that information is going to be in the show notes. That way you can click on the link, get connected with Brenda and the organization. Maybe you want to give to their foundation and that. All that information is going to be in there. That way you can do that. And I do have one last question for you. $1 million question and the most difficult question you will be asked all conference. Are you ready?
Okay.
Corn tortillas or flour tortillas?
Flour homemade.
Flour homemade. Okay, I respect a good flour tortilla. I'm a corn tortilla kind of guy.
Oh.
So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. I'm not going to say no to flour, but yeah.
Yeah, I was raised on homemade flour tortillas with my mom. So.
Okay. Were you raised with the, if they don't puff up, you're not ready to get married kind of thing?
No.
No? I remember my mom used to say that back in Mexico. She said, si no se inflan, todavía no te puedes casar. You can't get married until you can make that a homemade tortilla fluff up. So.
Oh, nice. But I'm going to add some things to that.
Okay, go for it.
Being Native American, we do make fry bread.
Oh my goodness.
And we make Indian bread. So our Indian bread is made in an horno outside,
Okay.
heated with mesquite wood. So if you're in El Paso, contact me, and I'll get my aunt to make you an Indian bread.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I used to live in Arizona, and there was a lot of Indian fry bread that they would
Yes.
sell because we lived around some of the reservations and that, and so good. Oh
Yes,
my gosh, so good.
it's the best.
It
I just
is.
had it this week, so.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you being a part of the show. Enjoy the rest of the conference. And I look forward to what you and your students are going to be doing with STEM, podcasting, YouTube, everything. So,
Thank you.
all
Thank
right.
you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.